Hi, you're listening to the BVM PRN podcast on the topic formal and informal credit. People want things they can't pay for all at once, and credit makes it possible to obtain them. When consumers and businesses can borrow money, economic transactions take place and the economy grows. Credit makes it possible for consumers to purchase things they need, and it makes it possible for companies who can buy machines and raw materials to make products and profit out of it. Having access to credit can be helpful in an emergency too. Credit can be availed formally and informally. Formally, it can be availed from banks, cooperatives, and financial institutions. Informal credit is obtained from relatives, friends, and money lenders. Which is better? Let's talk. Today, I have with me Kritika, Anurag, Manasa, Arnav, Kriti Sahana, Anish, Arundhati, Divyansh, and Mahika. Yes, Kritika, what do you have to say?
We know banks and cooperatives constitute the formal sector of credit and have a separate credit system for rural and urban areas. Formal sources follow the sources of credit that are registered by the government and have to follow the rules and regulations. Terms of credit and the rate of interest are fair and reasonable, and it is seen that the interest rates are always low in formal credit than informal. Banks just require proper documentation and a collateral as security for processing a loan. What do you say, Anurag?
In my opinion, even though this formal credit sounds like a brilliant idea, it is not that easy to avail it as it sounds. A proper application for a loan needs many documents, which is very difficult to obtain in rural areas where the administrative infrastructure is weak. Also, it is cumbersome for a rural person to produce their bank account statement, their proof of residence, and other KYC documents because oftentimes and not they have no copies of them. Also, even though 80% of rural Indians have bank accounts, most of them do not know how to utilize them. Banks have regulated timings and the procedure for getting the loan is very systematic and time consuming. This causes a unique problem. The person who wants to avail a loan in times of crisis may have to wait for a long time to obtain the credit. I thus conclude that even though formal credit is a very brilliant concept, it is usually very burdensome due to the formalities involved. I now call upon Manasa to present her views.
In my point of view, people approach informal credits because formal credit takes a lot of time to process. But I think this is a past scenario, but not today, because with technology innovations like intelligent process automation and digital transformation, the loan disbursement process has become much easier. And there is something called financial inclusion, and this imposes banking equality amongst the citizens, and it especially targets the unbanked and underbanked population who are predominantly women and children in the rural areas. And there is this one more method called agent banking, and this is also delivered in rural areas where there are uneducated population. And this is as simple as an individual working as an agent for the bank, and he or she serves as an intermediary to help fill forms and do other things throughout the process. And also, to overcome the problem of collateral, members in the rural areas can form small self-help groups and pool their savings in the bank for microcredits. So in this way, they can get timely loans for a variety of purposes and at a reasonable rate also. So what do you think, Arnav?
Although the advent of digital banking has been seen as a harbinger of change to credit in India, I feel its effects on making formal credit more accessible has been negligible. Even after the development of IT hubs in cities, the trickle down of technological development to rural areas is very low. This has made formal credit as inaccessible as before. The lack of infrastructure, such as broadband, is worrying. Less than 2.5% of the 2.5 lakh panchayats in India have a commercial broadband connection. Due to widespread poverty, many poor communities who need credit most are unable to afford internet connections. Low literacy levels in rural areas are another factor which have led to technology not being effective. These factors have led to digital banking, being ineffective in making formal credit accessible. I now transfer the discussion to Kriti Sahana.
One of the biggest facilities provided by banks are personal loans. The personal loans provided by banks are very versatile. The interest rates are decent and no collateral is required. Banks provide a variety of personal loans such as home loans, car loans, business loans, property loans, education loans, etc. to help people. With the development of technology, transactions can also take place online. Mobile banking and online banking services are also provided to people. Banks also provide checks to people so that payments can take place directly without the use of cash. What do you think, Anish?
Not all the facilities by the banks are used by all the people in the rural areas. The money lenders' influence on the farmers continues to be present in the rural areas. Though the banks are providing loans to the farmers, the money lenders ask this money back in high interest rates, and farmers, without being able to pay the money, are killing themselves. The poor people still tend to remain poor. Not all the requirements of the poor people are fulfilled by banks. There are long queues in the banks, and it takes a lot of time. The banks are providing some loans like loans for crops, and the people in the rural areas do not have easy access to these loans. Corruption in the banking system is also a problem. This is because most of the people in the rural areas are illiterate, and the bank officials might say we are providing some facilities and taking money from your account and take the money from the farmer's account, and farmers lose their money which they earn by doing hard work. Now, what do you think about this, Arun?
I do feel that banks, like all other organizations, is also a victim to corruption, but on a very small scale when compared to the informal credit system. Unlike informal credit system, there is the RBI, the supreme banking body, to monitor the working of all other banks and branches under it. Informal credit system lacks this facility, and there is no guarantee that informal credit system is not subject to corruption. In fact, informal credit system only provides accommodation for any corruption activities to go unnoticed. Formal credit system includes various other branches like vigilance cells and corruption cells that strive to prevent corruption of any form. Any identified malpractices is tended to, and the accused is meticulously tracked and punished severely. This system has been prevailing for 70 years in independent India and is still strong and stable as ever, and has led to healthy practices where money is involved. What do you say, Divyansh?
I feel that rich people get benefited as most of them are well educated and can fill the form which bank gives them. They also have enough bank balance to repay the loan. Rich people take up a big loan and start their own business so even they can get lot of profits. Banks also don't ask them many questions as they know that they are capable of returning money as their bank balance is high. They also get benefited as their credit increases. This is how the rich people get benefited from these bank loans. Now I would like to call upon Mahika to share her thoughts on this.
Cheap and affordable formal credit is significant for a country's development. It provides a conducive environment to nurture entrepreneurship. It not only boosts the economy, it also increases employment opportunities and raises the standards of living. Few very interesting and impactful examples of how formal credit systems have fueled economic growth are the Pradhan Mantri Mudra Yojana (PMMY), 59-minute loans for startup MSMEs, and up to 10 lakh rupee loans without any collateral. Initiatives like Smile from the government are promoting establishment of new MSMEs with soft loans. Based on all the facts and figures provided by our panel, it is evident that the formal credit system is more effective and secure than the informal system of credit and has a larger set of benefits for the people. Thank you.
Well, from the discussion, it's quite clear that formal credit is advantageous as it is regulated by RBI, it has a transparent process, and the terms and conditions are very clear, and the cost of borrowing is very less, and most importantly, it does not exploit the borrower. So let us use the formal credit as much as possible and make it popular even in the rural areas. So this can help in the development of the country. Thank you.